Let's understand the truth together. There will come a time when you're going to understand something new. And the newness is not necessarily the unknown. It's a newness about yourself, which you've always known. It's a relative thing. It's a relationship. It's something not to be squandered or hurried to be attached to. It would be futile and misgivings for you to attach to this idea as something to proceed in acquirement. Let's not do that. But we give you this ideas because you can understand it from a relationship point of view. It's not unknown, but you're going to know something new about yourself, and that newness is a relationship. I guess I can call it your own funeral. So I'll think about that together. Since there is no physical death, obviously we're not talking about the physical idea. We're talking about the depletion of the personality that you've built. And it becomes aware as you pursue the persona. It's a mixing of the two, it would seem. It'd be letting go and letting in, releasing and allowing. And it's always happening in the now, every day, every single day, no matter how much and how hard you hide yourself from yourself. Yourself is always present. Many people, if they had, let's say, another 100 years, maybe childhood was 50 years instead of what they call 18. You would know yourself better. You would spend most of your life understanding what you are not, to understand what you are. And I think 200 years would give you a lot more time of quality with yourself. Humanity seeks quantity. For some reason, the amount you have stashed behind you means value. And those values are experiences, and bank accounts, things that you can boast and fall back upon, talents and things that you've done. And we understand that relationship, but of course, that's the personality that is seeking. See, the persona has no desire to know itself as something. The personality does. And it's like a sliver. If you can imagine yourself as the universe, and there was just one tiny little idea in the entire universe, there was a slit of light. That's how much of an area you have to move through to find yourself. It's very tiny and noticeable in this vast idea of distraction. And even when you are, quote, awake, you're still not seeing the slit. You're seeing what's projected from it, and it's just got your shiny attention, so you lose your attention on what's being shined around you in the present world you live in. But I'm talking about going into that self. Talking about releasing everything on this side that you find valuable, including your isness, your persona. See, when you act in actions and you know those actions are commandments, you recognize those actions are commandments to fortify. That's what you got to recognize. When you recognize those actions are fortifying this side of the world, the distraction, the world you were birthed into and created through the filters. The world you create, my friends, it's all done through your awareness, everything. The light is just being what? created and collapsed and slowed down and given to a frequency by your wholesale, but you are giving everything color, everything meaning, everything texture, everything's translated through you. Everything, everything, everything is your world. And when you stay in this world, you stay in this world. And when you lose that identity, then you're going to feel a loss. You're going to lose yourself. There's a death to be had. The personality. See, the blending occurs, so that's why you can't be afraid. The blending of I am into I am. Not who into what is going to occur. And it is occurring in the present. We talk of these things because we learned it from you. So we live in now in history, so we know you now and your future. And you told us the story of the experience, so we give it back to you. So you have the experience that you already told us. So what's happening is you feel a sadness because you realize you're not going to deploy an action that would be considered by yourself a reaction, to claim, to justify, to keep retreading yourself over old grounds over and over again. And then having noticed by you, now forget about the unnoticeable stuff just for a moment, but noticed by you that you're acting in a mannerism of a personality. Maybe you're jumping in the middle of a conversation because you're not part of the conversation and you want to make some kind of claim to a history because you just can't live without being acknowledged. So you butt your way in so you can be counted. Because your isness, your stillness isn't enough. Your presence isn't enough because the conscious mind of distraction is always, what did we already say? Gaining quantity, never quality. All it wants is more stuff, more action, more interaction, more things to talk about, to brag about, and stock it up in time. As if there's a finish line at the end, we all take a tally on what you've done. That's why quantity never works for anybody. That's why you're left wanting all the way to the day you push up daisies. Because it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality of life. It's the relationship. It's the relationship with your money. It's the relationship with your car. It's the relationship with your best friend. It's the relationship, oh my God, my goodness, oh my goodness, everybody. It's the relationship with yourself. That relationship takes care of everything else. The built-in unconditional harmony point of view can never have discourse with creation. Creation can have discourse with you. Creation is having discourse with itself right now. But of course, it's all the point of view from the eye of the beholder, isn't it? And that's why it's so beautiful and so harmony, because it works. So the death you're experiencing is losing what you have built and worked hard all your life. I want you to understand, when you make a claim against your own unworthiness, and you say, you can't do that, I'm not allowed to do that, I'm bad at marriages, I'm bad at love, I suck at budgets, and just anything that you can imagine that you love putting yourself. See, that's the personality building up its idea of its relationship to reality to sustain itself. And you become that personality, which is you on this side of the universe, creating the illusional world. You want to find your way through the slit. Well, you've already found the slit, because that's awareness, your own light beaming out from it. And you're going to slip into that by not holding on to the things on this side of the projector. You see, you're playing the part as if this is real, right? We're playing the part and having an experience. This is sugar. The dishes are clean. Things are about me. We're on this side of the projector feeling it. This personality. Now, this personality that Roxy is also has in it that creates the personality, the persona. That's Roxanne, the whole. RW, you call them, I believe. So RW is creating this whole world from Roxanne's point of view. And when I'm here, I see the world I'm creating from my point of view. But we are always creating the point of view as one. And I get to see it this way, and Roxy get to see it this way. But see, in limitation, there's two selves. There's a rug here. I wish you could see it. What is that? Leather? Oh, repurposed leather. Now that is clever. So the persona is projecting the light. Greetings, Tanya. The persona is projecting the light and giving Roxy, being filled by the light, an experience. And she commands this personality as real. Therefore, the experience is unquestionable. Because built into the experience of gaining quantity is the quality of its real, isn't it? Life is real right now, isn't it? I mean, I'm sure Nanette can go out and look out the window and she can see a high point of view. And I bet if she opened the window and looked out over the edge, she would feel, oh my God, I might fall. She can feel the height. See, that's reality. Because that's what she's understood as that. And then she has the truths of heights and gravities and fallings and buildings and points of view. So her experience is a quality that is absolutely undeniable. But see, that's what you guys are used to. You're so used to that that you've come numb to the idea of the quality as if the quality is bounded by what you know, by the personality, that it cannot go beyond. That's why when you go into your imagination, you go into your mind of separation. And then you go through all that crap into fairyland or fun land or meditation land, and you go into this idea, different state of being. It doesn't feel so quality as in real. That's why it's made up or make-believe. Yet at the same time, when you have your drug-induced idea experiences, that seems so real. But you guys just don't know how to stay there without doing it again, do you? No. Because real comes back in truth. Because no matter how much ayahuasca you take or how much drugs you take, the reality, the chosen truth, will remain until you understand the relationship with the chosen truth. So the chosen truth is what the default is, right? You guys had no idea that you were gods, did you? You come here and you were taught other than you're an individual singularity. Some parents are doing it now. Some parents have done it. But not as a mass collective in a day-to-day wares, social interaction, social acceptance, blah, blah, blah. So you're not too, let's say, believed on this mumbo jumbo. Yet you'll understand a guy died on a cross for your sins because you were chosen by God to be a sinner. So you were chosen to be a sinner, and that no one's ever seen, no one's ever touched, no one's ever experience, and you're not allowed to talk to God in and of itself. I mean, you can talk to him, but if he talks back, they'll put you in the loony bin. And that is more real to you than your own imagination. And that's the quality. And as you choose your truth, and you see the results of reality that say, my life is less than what I want, and you continue to use the attributes that given you the life that you've had, you're going to notice one thing, that your life doesn't change. The quality of the life we're talking about stays the same. It stays in pain, it stays in fear, it stays in rejection, it stays in obligation, it stays in responsibility, it stays in what do I need to do now, how do I do this, what's I'm supposed to do, how do I make more money, how do I solve my money problems, how do I fall in love, where's my soulmate, where's my twin flame. You just do all this stuff that's been all put into this wonderful universe called separation. And the mind has been taught to supersede the quality of your own heart. And you pay attention to the mind more than your heart, because the heart is a misgiven idea. Don't they say it? Oh, there's someone who follows their heart. They have no common sense. They live with their heart on their sleeve. And their life ends up being fucked up or tragic or whatever. So it only reinforces the idea of logic and sensibility and, let's say, your beautiful ideas of responsibility and creating lives of security and investments and time things that would show that you have some kind of, let's say, you have a gumption inside to be something of success, and you seek that admiration. These are relationships. I'm not going to point anything out to you. You guys know this. And for you guys to say that this is not known would be the personality sustaining its image for fear of its own death. You can even say, you know you're dying a little bit more today, but the death is a personality that you built. It's an artificial intelligence. It's something that is a practicum to get you through this life. Everyone's looking to get through life. No one's living life. Because your life needs to get through is what they taught you. Again, the personality. Again, this side of the universe. What lies on the other side? You have the slit of light that's beaming. You are the projected, and you are the projector. You can slip very easily into the other side. And that's just letting go of everything. But whilst you're doing that, isn't there a sense of quality? Isn't there a still moment that awareness has always been present? That you're never afraid? Look, guys, this thought just came across the psyche of the class. You're not giving up humanity. That's the finite mind thinking, what's next if I don't be what I know I am? Nothing changes except the quality of the relationship with life. That's what changes. You're still going to be a human. You're still going to project yourself as a human, but you're projecting it from not an idea of a separation standpoint, being the projector and the projected. You're going to be the one, here, God, present in the moment, full awareness, relating to a basketball game, sitting on your couch enjoying a TV show, getting a hug from your honey while you fold laundry, sharing times with your kids. That's not going to change. You're still going to live your life until your life is ready to be chosen differently. And as you choose it differently, you're going to see the differences of your life be made known. And the quality of the life will supersede the quantity that you guys are always festering for, trying to become more, knowing that you're enough, trying to make yourself sure, judging others, motherfucking them, and calling them insane things, being your own little island fortress and using the shores of commonality to bolster up your justification for such degradations upon your own brethren. You can do that. But the relationship with that has a discernment that has always been present in humanity, especially in the days of these ages where there's such an amount of light being shown upon the psyche of humanity. Change is upon you. You can see it every day. Still, limits are being sustained, of course, but it is much brighter on this planet. It's attracting a lot more attention. There's a lot more people watching the game of humanity, for it has grown into something of an enigma. It's a thing now. It stands on its own as something that cannot be turned away from, because it's just too interesting. There was a radio DJ still present on your planet named Howard Stern. When he was first starting out, there was the debate of whether to get him off the air or not. And see, the ratings proved different. Half of his audience loved him and half of them hated him. But they were all listening. Why? Because to see what's next. To see what Howard was going to stay next. See, Howard is not anything to be labeled. Howard is not anything to be categorized. Howard Stern is a creator. And he's natural. A lot of people don't like his natural because it goes against their natural of their personality. But if the persona were present more than the personality, then Howard Stern would be a co-creator, nothing but that, enjoying the wares of his offerings upon the choice of the now. These are the things that work in life for you. This is how it happens. When you become authentic, you become more of the persona, who you are. You can give yourself a name. You can give yourself any name you want to. It's the relationship with the name that you must notice, right? Roxy still hasn't settled on a name. Doesn't know if it's Roxy's appropriate, Roxanne the whole, RW, anything to do with Homo Divinicus. Doesn't really matter now because she knows that's not important in the now any longer. Because it was a seeking of personality to create a personality, something else to attach onto. No. See, because we're not going to be who's anymore, right? We're just going to be what's. And that's the spooky part. Because the persona is an expression of what you are, a God. The personality is containing it. It contains the God that you are. That's what it does. So as you slip away more and more from the personality that you command and you demand, and you fall back on because you are uncomfortable being lonely, you revert back to that self that argues and yells and screams and justifies because it is scared and it needs some kind of feeding in that moment. Each and every time you do that, you're more aware of yourself as that. And every time you are more aware of that, depletes it. It just depletes it. So you're not here to be anything any longer. The personality wanted you to be something. Brent wanted to be a hero to his kids at school and to the parents. He wanted to count through his hard work. So he created a personality to care and have hope and give hope. And he worked his personality around that for years. And he structured that, and he structured his idea of being this giver of help to all these people to free them from the prison. Yet every day he built this prison a little bit more solid, a little bit stronger. He did guard changes on a current frequency of interaction. He put up new reasons to keep his prison shiny and solid until he realized, I don't need to do this anymore. Nancy doesn't need to be a sewing circle. Nancy's more than a sewing circle would ever be. She has talent, but if that's all she is, then the personality will contain her to that. See, that's what the personality does. It finds a knack and goes after it to create the quantity within that personality to call itself worthy. Don't shine yourself on what you think your purpose is, because then you will be crushed. Because there's no one that gives you purpose except you. But if you're always objectifying purpose, then all you have to do is look at actors that get old. Look at heroes that fade away. Time erases it, doesn't it? Because they can't keep performing and the next shiny thing is here. And unless you time invested yourself and you created an iconic persona and you have an abundance that lasts you to the grave, then you'll get by with your pain that you've grown numb to. But that's saved for the 1% of the 1% of humanity. So I would think you can go another way. And that way is not done through quantity. It is done through quality. It is done through the authentic. Busker Dan writes in the chat, Sylvester Stallone making Rocky authentic. Truly. Sat down and wrote that movie down on a paper napkin. Came up with the idea and did it all himself. Wouldn't let nothing get in his way. He wasn't fortified in his idea. He wasn't actually arrogant and commanding. It was much same as Colonel Sanders. He knocked upon the door when they said, he picked up his stuff and walked away. Until someone said yes. Rocky went to the people, Sylvester, Rocky went to the people and said, blah, 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 until someone said yes. This part, this part, this part, all fell into place because he's authentic. And people turn those into ideas. They turn them into idols, something to be achieved. And then everyone tries to mimic that. And you guys are caught up in building personalities once again, thinking that supersedes the quality of life that's sitting patiently, quietly, in the now that you are. I have a private chat standby class. Yes. And you didn't give him the food.
No, I didn't.
You let him go.
Yeah.
Is he in pain?
I
Shemaine,
felt, yes.
he's in his pain, isn't
He's
he?
in his pain, yes, he
Can
is.
you accept that and he's in his pain and he's allowed to choose the way he views the world like you do every day?
Yes.
There you go. Now see, that's the personality going away. Bye-bye. You wrote
Yeah.
there, You've helped me grow so much. So I didn't help you grow. Roxy didn't help you grow. Roxy just showed you that you're already that. You just embraced it. Make sense?
Yes, it does.
Thank you for sharing that, Charmaine.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So that personality that you chase, that we try to create, a good hard worker that stays extra hours, a mother that sacrifices her career for her children. These are the things, when the personality is expressed, it only understands itself in the limitation universe. Because the personality has used the references of limitation learned to create its universe. But as you let go, what comes in? More light. There's no more containing the light, and the death will be bestowed upon you. Vibrational shift of the personality going away. As Charmaine is realizing, she's birthing a new self. It's truly not birthing a self. It's just realizing and embracing her own self. See, when you are yourself, there's no what in the idea to be understood. There's no who to be labeled. It's just a sitting isness that cannot be explained nor ever does. Because it's such unknowing that there's no reasonality to project an image, whether it is I'm a god or I'm this. You don't have to be anything because you're the stillness of what you already are. And that is a valuable idea to behold because it helps you start to deplete the value you've placed in the personality. Playing parts in your life to get accepted. The overbearing mother, because you're afraid that you might fail. Maybe the ditzy blonde. You can do these things because you're good at them. So again, why are we here? Because we are a vibrational match to your potential. And the potential is what the vibration offers. And we speak the offering of the vibration that is presently unknown to become in to be as chosen known. Because you live where? You live in to choose. So the presence of your vibration can shift by choice. It is not a ritual. It is not raising your vibration. It's returning to your natural. You cannot choose through an idea of how, because any how would be one thing, creating a personality of an outcome. All you have to do is let go of what you have built and constructed. You'll still be able to smoke your cigarettes, drink your drinks. You'll still be able to walk and talk as you choose. But the relationship with your entire life is so different now that you will never know yourself as what you were. So many selves you can't even recognize from 2 years ago. Your such deep fears that you were wrestling with and trying to handle at those ages are no longer even on your radar vibration. You couldn't even relate to that self. But now 2 years is going to go into 2 months. And 2 months will turn into 2 weeks. 2 weeks will turn into 2 days until the now appears. And when the now becomes bright and apparent, and there's no more to choose, and choice is reinstilled, and then you are now. You are oneness. And that could be considered a death. Nanette, you have something.
Yeah, and miraculously, you kind of covered the answer to my confusion because,
Miraculously.
yeah,
See, I'm going to tell you something. That's not you. That's a personality. So let us be brash for a moment. You already knew this conversation. You created it. You wrote it for yourself. But your
okay,
inability to be humble and accept you as a God keeps you in a personality motif. The miraculous here is that you already know this conversation. Now that can be accepted as a death to the personality and a rebirth of the persona,
hmm,
knowing that this is your conversation, this is your now, this is your already. Again, I'm the messenger from what you have already spoken, done, and experienced, because I am from your future in your past, right?
yes,
So it's not Nanette the fractal that is telling me this, it's Nanette the fractal that's playing a game with the new shiny thing. Who's actually telling me this is Nanette the whole.
okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, it was just, I caught myself. You see, you've covered all this. Um,
Yes,
last night, um, yeah, I'm talking about you. He looked over. Last night, I found myself, telling my son that I was disappointed in him, and I was really upset right away. And so today I had a talk with him, and I said, I don't want to do this. You don't disappoint me, but you have to work with me while I'm trying to figure this out. It was a reaction, and I was it scared me because I'm like, well, why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep doing this kind of thing? And how do you stop it? But you kind of covered all of this today, so it was after I raised my hand. Um, it's just scary because you kind of see yourself doing what it feels like a program, like kind of like a
it
program.
is a program. It is a program. It's what you think your truth is. Remember what we said. You're recognizing and you're afraid because you're dying, Nanette. You're not physically dying. You're never going to go anywhere. You're going to go forever. Your consciousness, your existence, there's no extinguishing your light, period.
Right.
But what you are experiencing is what? The death of the personality. You looked at your son and says, I don't want to, you're not disappointing. You have to work with me because I'm going through something. Is that admittance to a recognition, yes or no?
Yes.
So you see that the recognition is in place in the depletion of Nanette being such a person of protection towards another God that needs no protection becomes aware to you. So of course it happens naturally. It's happening. And whether your son chooses to be what? Patient with you or he has his own reactions, you can't let that happen to you and get him get under your skin for his reaction because he's going through it too, young lady.
I know. Yes, I understand.
Yes. So what do you do with your son? Well, you stop being a mother and you start being a friend. Now you can guide him, but if you are always posturing yourself as a mother to a son, then your entire life will be that quality of life within the quantity of give and take.
Right.
So maybe you can release that and know that that son has been many relationships with you, many roles, playing many different stages on the drama of humanity, the stage that you guys set. And he may play a strange lady in the corner one time of your lifetime that remembered something, give you a picture, and you remember maybe an old aunt that looked the same, and you remember this time with your aunt that triggered this. It could have been as simple as that, or he could have been a past lover, or he could have been a best friend. But what he is in and itself is not a personality and not a name and not a container. He's a what like you are. He's a God. being an idea of an energetic creator for an experience for himself that lasts for eternity. And you guys decided to join up in partnership to jump knee deep in an idea of the forgotten gods, live a life together. And you are.
Mm.
And that life has brought you to a point of an awareness to deplete the life of pain and allow the life of harmony to return. So a posturing is in order. So release the posture to see how the universe can be ordered with harmony, with no intention. It works because he's a friend. He's not your son. Humanity wants to play that role. Sure, yay, he's my son. Yay, yay. But your relationship, it's the quality. It's how you relate to things. Everything is relationship to reality. I'm telling you, it's the exquisite beauty of knowing how that is to you through the filters you are. And when you release what you are and become the natural, then there's no to be anymore. Right?
Right. I love it. Thank
I
you.
love it too. You're welcome. I'll give you an experience of Roxanne's mind. We'll be with you in a minute, Brent. Roxanne has a mind up here, and it runs around with thoughts. She's present in the channel, and she understands the thought blocks, the potentials of the conversations and where they go. And she's honed in on them, but also present in the moment is the personality, Roxy. The one that says, where's this going? What is that? How is someone going to take that? See, she sees that self. And she is her own God and can enact any time, any now, the personality. And through her own discipleship, she no longer enacts and becomes more naked. That's why she has so many naked dreams, as Jennifer surmised. Because she's becoming let go of what she thought she was, what she confined herself as. And there were many ideas of egoic structures on what she could be. Many things in relationships to humanity, discovering one thing, everything she thought she wanted or could be was the personality being sustained. The world of limitation, shoring itself up with another piece of meat to eat until it is once again let go and allowed to die. Feeding the hungry lion she has been, but not in a fault, in an evolution. So when you discover yourself, like you did, Nanette, with the humility, realizing you're trying to be controlling and label your son as a disappointment because he didn't perform to your standards. Recognition of that is not regretful. Recognition of that as Roxy is evolutionary. So she sees herself in evolution, and that gives her own courage to let go of one more piece of Roxanne and not get moved or slighted or upset because someone said this or that about her appearance or what she's doing to humanity or her belief systems. And whatever she is, she's going to be whatever anyone is going to label her because she can't help it. So she let go of that. And she understands that's a fundamental right for everybody. That no matter how hard you try to please the world is still going to be whatever the world is as they choose. So when you stop worrying about how you're going to be perceived, or you stop worrying how your people around you should be and act around you and others, then you're going to get this sense of freedom that supersedes all common sense. It's going to be nuts and out of control. It's going to be denoted as something of irresponsible. That you can't be that. Cultish. But yet it's being represented every day by people around the planet, that they're allowed to walk divinely upon this planet in their own way, with no care or concern of everything or anything. So as Roxy sees the mind depleting, she stares in the mirror, she says goodbye to herself, and she fills herself well up, because she worked very hard to create someone, and she didn't know she couldn't. And that's the part that's really hard. There was one time that she knew she didn't have to do it, but she couldn't help it. She kept on building and building and building and building and trying to create quantity, trying to tell and convince people to sell her on her wares, to sell them. Thank you, Roxanne. Big bank accounts at one time, dashing clothes. Nowadays, things of imagery, wanting to have experiences that were out here. And even her mind thinks about, well, what if she never gets the things that she thinks she wants? Then the mind just says, maybe she'll stay in this apartment for the rest of her life. And she doesn't pay attention to those fears any longer. And the only thing that knows now is the quality of life, with a reference point that's only placed in the now. And that reference is her own persona. Yes, Brent. You're still muted, darling. We didn't unmute you. Our pardons.
No worries. I'm not familiar with the definition of posture that you're using. So,
When you posture yourself, you take a position of life. Have you ever seen two guys posturing over a woman in a bar? Or
yeah,
in your case, two guys posturing himself over another guy?
yeah,
Don't be embarrassed about being that. It's okay to be gay, right?
yeah.
Okay, good. I didn't know if you were still playing that personality.
No.
Oh, good, because you had a kind of a sliding shyness about it.
Oh,
Okay, so you see how they position themselves, or maybe they're coming head to head and they ease posturing, or maybe you understand called jockeying for position. You ever heard that term yet?
yes, yeah.
Jockeying for, have you ever watched the start of a NASCAR race?
No,
Have you ever watched the start of a horse race?
no. I don't think I have.
Where have you been, Brent?
I've never watched a NASCAR race or heard like the start of it. I don't think I've ever seen it.
Okay, well, they're jockeying for position.
Oh, like when you start inching up, like you're getting ready to go.
No, the race is on and they're just posturing. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever watched a mating ritual of birds, maybe?
No. All right.
Jamie's having a good time with this. We actually know what you have in your mind, but we're not going there because this is just too much fun. We're having a good time with this. Thank you. So posturing is a position you take. It's an approach to life. Does that make sense?
Okay.
In other words, I know when you're driving to work and when you actually go into work, do you change your way you relate, or are you still Brent?
Yeah, sometimes to interact with the parents. Yeah.
Yes, you change your position, don't you? Your approach. You're never Brent, who would be the same Brent with the people at a party taking ecstasy. Would you be that?
No.
No, you would be a posture, an image,
Okay.
an approach to life. How's that?
Okay. Okay.
You create a personality because there's something in front of you that needs attention, and that tension must be considered important. If it wasn't considered important, then you're going to be whatever you are in the moment. The moment's becoming transcendent in time. But if it is something of relative that's equatable to you as something to be dealt with, then you change your time with posturing. And you become a different relationship to reality in the moment, and then you pretend to be something. You create the personality to be accepted instead of just being. It's much like maybe when you get to, ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking, maybe when you get to your 30s or your 40s, maybe you're through one marriage, or you can't find quite a lover, or you found yourself divorced after a few years, and you want to slut out, but you won't let yourself do that because it would mean something. But your natural says to do that, but your personality says it needs to mean something because A, if I don't, that means I did this, 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 and B, if I do that and he doesn't do or she doesn't do what I want him to do, then I'm considered this. And your whole life is positioning yourself on this race. That there's no race and there's no positioning yourself. And that's what we're showing you, that the personality is enacted is to keep you stifled in your own idea breath, your own idea light. You keep dimming it each and every time you say no to the self in the moment. Every single time you say no to your natural, you emboss and stamp on you a what? A personality, a container that says I have to maintain this image for the purpose of my own well-being. And that well-being that you are maintaining is based off of a belief system that's part of your universe you've created. It's part of your stars, your planets, your galaxies you've created. It's a part of your world. Each and every time you enact that self, that postures in a position, you sustain vibration. And the quality of life stays the same. You guys have a very scary life, don't you? You're afraid. So the personality depleted, no longer enacted, no longer posturing or jockeying for position. Just being the life in the now only is going to reveal the harmony. In some cases, it takes patience. In some cases, it takes an attitude of no attitude, divinity, divine nonchalance, complete allowance and acceptance, indifference to reality. But those are never permanent. See, each moment is so unique and so beautiful, it cannot be labeled any such mannerisms from one to the next, unless, of course, you love to have congruency. And if you seek and hold on to congruency of time with facts, then you most certainly will contain yourself to the personality you've already built. Does that make sense, Brent?
Yes. And when you were saying those thoughts, what if I don't ever get the things that I want? That's just the personality trying to sustain itself?
It's not necessarily trying to sustain itself because the personality doesn't have an entity behind it. So you keep thinking that the personality has its own energizing force. It doesn't. It's when you choose to be that energizing force is when it becomes alive and sustainment. It's not trying to do anything because it doesn't have relative thought as you do. Because it is you, but when you are recognizing it, it is not alive. It is a self that you've created that you're recognizing, much like the idea of Nanette recognized, I'm disappointed in you. And then she's like, why am I disappointed in myself? I'm not disappointed. My fractal is disappointed. So it's not there. That's the habit of the mind and what's potential. Because where have you been your entire life, Brent? I'll tell you. You've been trying to become. So that's the habit built in. That's the algorithm of the mind that you create, is always seeking the potential of the future and what's going to happen if you make certain choices, and what's going to happen in hope, and what's going to happen if this doesn't come along. So you may define it as wanting or trying to create that ideal life from that standpoint, but it's truly in the moment a choice. But right now you have the recognition right now to see that your mind is running amok saying, well, this is going to happen, and there's people who aren't going to like me. You remember when you got caught red-handed and you disappointed that lady about the drug deal, about the ecstasy?
Yes.
And you lied to yourself to create a personality. You made an excuse up, but to create a personality, because the emotional equation to failure and being disappointed in other people's eye was too bearing that you personality postured yourself to make amends no matter what. It wasn't your personality that told you to do that. You did that. You chose to do that. Following?
Yes. Yeah.
So when Roxy says, okay, you know, it would be wonderful to live in California and live the beach. It would be wonderful to be there and have a party and a marriage, to meet Jamie and Rose and Nicole once again, and Colton, you again, all there at the beach. Jennifer, maybe Jennifer's new house, if she gets a house. All these things in her mind. And then the personality goes, well, what if they don't happen? What happens if you're stuck in here? And see, she sees that as a personality dying, so she gives it no homage. You right?
Yeah.
Because when she starts to give it, then she becomes it and energizes it and feeds the hungry lion. Do you see that relationship?
Yes.
So when it was eating at you at your rot gut level, it was just eating you alive, that you fucked up in this friend's eyes, that you became the personality to fix it. But of course, it was a temporary fill, and you're still the same quality of life. You're still afraid, you're still empty, and you're still seeking quantity. You're trying to become more of Brent every day. How many years has it been since your hair started falling out, yet you seem to have hair? So that's the personality of fear that you keep enacting instead of just saying, yes, thank you, and never giving it a second thought. Every time it comes up, you don't ask about it, you don't engage in it, you don't wonder about it, you leave it alone. And you just keep going about your nows. And the energy that you have been focusing on that reality becomes less and less important. And those importances no longer show up in your reality. Because the only thing that is now. We're not talking about shifting your reality. You've seen how people shift. You remember when a girlfriend or a boyfriend, you guys were the girlfriend and the boyfriend, and you got crushed one time, right? You lost your love. And then it was so bad, but you found a rebound guy or girl. And they give you a little bit of the energy so you can get your worthiness back up and then go out, and then you cut them off and you went on about your life and nothing happened. But see, that's just a shift of lack. Why this class is so scary is because you're letting go of the creator of lack. And that creator that you have been here on this planet, the creator of the personality, is so real. Without it, there's no existence, and you're afraid of that hole, that emptiness, that separation to be felt, because you don't know who you are without who being instilled, because what is not enough. But as you choose to deplete that, you notice, as we've given in the class through, let's say, the histories of this class, you have your awareness. And see, your awareness is awareness. No matter how much your mind fights and tells you the things that are wrong and right, in the now, everything is always fine. Everything is always perfect now. Right now, look back at your history, and there's never been anything wrong except your mind calling something wrong against what you think you needed to have or what you performed as. But it's always been perfect in the now. Just like right now. Nothing's wrong. That awareness gives you a solid that if you let go of things that are wrong and right and how to change them and how to be better and how to continue my life of building the ideas of quantity of life, always gain, 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 become, 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 I can realize with my awareness that I'm still here and still now. So maybe there is something to letting go of the personality to allow the persona to be expressed, the natural. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the more I was starting, the personality was starting to die, and the emptiness the past couple of days, like my mind's been flooded with like these thoughts of like, well, you know, this is Abraham.
Yes.
Yeah. With you being here, I started remembering past hot seat interactions, and I was like, fuck, like. I still haven't received those things. So my mind, but now I realize that's just the personality trying to fill the emptiness that I've been feeling.
Hoping for.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the relationship to things.
Yeah.
Whenever you are measuring in time, waiting for things to come, then your vibration gives you the exact reflection, right?
Yeah.
So you get to continue to wait for things. Because you're asking vibration to do that. So that's why it never comes. When you accept the reality is in the now, whatever is not there comes. But whatever is not there can't be defined by your mind of expectancy, because then you contain it within your personality. Are you following that?
Yes. Yeah.
So you can't be disappointed unless you're engaging yourself and feeling the disappointment. And what your interactions with me that you had placed expectations upon based on your interpretations of our interaction. And if that is a disappointment, much like, what was her name? Sylvia?
Silver Brown.
Yes, you had a very big disappointment with her, and you were expecting an apology. See, and that's the personality, because you have a relationship with that personality that gives you a certain quality of life that you says is justified and I can be fulfilled through disappointing of this idea, Sylvia Brown. And just the smile on your face gives you another reason to sustain the personality, because in that moment, just now, when you were kind of blushing about it, you felt good. And see, that feels better than the emptiness. So that's why it's so easy to continue the personality, and it's so maddeningly scary to release, which you, by releasing the personality, you're working very rigorously at it, you're finding it is very scary, and the mind is flooded with all these thoughts. But the master enacts no thoughts except the thought of the now, that is consideration, relation, if you will, of passion. And that's it. So you do nothing else except be the me that you are. And the me is not constructed of a personality to be contained. It is a persona expressed. It is the natural. Yes?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is that all for now, Brent?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Felicia, then we'll go to Charmaine.
Hello again.
Hello.
It feels so good to be in hot seat, I guess I call this.
Call it what you will.
But this is really good because I guess I'm kind of sort of like, kind of I can feel I can relate to Brent in a way, because I have had this like this want to and I call it passion, but this want to do production and put on my plays because I really love to do it. It's a lot of fun.
Yes.
I really enjoy it when I do it, but
what?
over time, like when I was at one time I was following. Hold on one second. Whew. At one time I was following like Abraham so deeply. It was like I just jumped in, and I probably a lot of things I wasn't really understanding maybe, and so I was, doing certain practices, and so it's like that has been programmed in me almost like. So I'm kind of trying to put that behind me, put that. Excuse me.
Can I have you look at something right now for a moment with me? Will you journey with me right now?
Yes.
Whatever was, was.
Yes.
See, the quality of life you don't understand because you're still looking at it from a polarized point of view of measurement. You say you jumped in too soon without understanding, which can only be measured as a failure. But the quality of life you've lived is truly immeasurable once you understand your wholeness. And your whole life will become that of eternal bliss as it always is. The experience of limitation in and of itself is so unique and so blissful, it cannot be denoted by the fractal in and of itself because the fractal is living the polarity world, and hence the quality of the experience. So you can't hold yourself in contempt for being Felicia and jumping right into life. And it doesn't matter what you were, what you have, and what you haven't done. Because there's no time, and there's no race, and there's no finish line. Felicia, there's only now. And your plays still can go on. We know that you have enacted an idea of wanting actors to the Houston area to put on some kind of performance. Is this true?
Yes, actually. So that's what I was trying to get to.
You were not trying to get to there. We are there together, are we not?
Okay, well, yes, let's be there. I really want to be my authentic self at this point. So I'm saying, like, okay, so lately I've just been now. But all of a sudden, these, like, it's like stuff just keep just flooding in. Something comes in for me to do, and I'm just like, I just go with the flow. If something comes up, it comes up. But this came up, and it like this came up, something to do, and I did what I normally would do, try to push it back because it's something that I would usually do, try to push it back, like this is not the time for this right now, and it was like it forced its way out. I was actually looking at last night's recording when it happened, and so I stopped. I just stopped and went on and posted it because it forced its way. It's almost, I felt like, I know it didn't force its way, but it felt like it was nothing that was gonna stop me.
Well, why would you do that? Only the fears can stop you. That's the personality.
Yes, I was very afraid in that moment.
Slow down with me, okay? We don't need to convince that you're right.
Okay.
Especially you do. You don't need to convince anything. It didn't force. It felt so fearful you considered it forcing. But what it was is your natural being. And so now Felicia is actually being authentic. As a moment ago you were trying to be authentic. Yeah, let's be authentic. Authentic is always now a choice. It's never to be earned. It's never to be regained. It's only to be chosen when the natural is there. And it's always there. You've recognized your natural self, so you went ahead and posted that. But you're afraid. That's all. That's all it is. So can you accept that you're afraid of how this is going to turn out? Yes?
Yes.
That's it. Now,
I'm
wasn't that,
I'm afraid.
yeah. But how about now? See, even now you're afraid, but nothing has gone wrong yet, has it?
No.
Right. And how about now?
No.
Oh, still nothing wrong. That's exciting. Look how much we've accomplished. If you want to measure, we've been through 4 nows and even 5. And look at that, 6 nows. Nothing's wrong. No failure can be enacted upon your play. It is a play you're going to put on, isn't it?
Yes.
What's it about?
It's actually about it's a lady, older lady who is, she feels like she always says that she's 35 and she's going to Broadway, but she's like 63 years old, and she has this nephew and niece who lives with her. One is her nephew is on drugs, so he's never there, and her niece just lives with her, and she always tells them that she always tells them her payday is coming, and and her payday is coming, and she doesn't have a job. So they think she's senile. They think she is really crazy, because how you gonna have a payday and you don't have no job? And so she always tells them that, and so she does all these different things. Stuff start happening for her. She started getting things. She wins like this publisher clearinghouse thing, and everybody says, she always say, you got to hide and go seek. You got to hide and go seek. And so she, at the end, it's really entertaining. At the end, she tells her niece that she's going to Broadway, so she got to go get her rest. And so when she goes to bed that night, her niece comes in and say, "Yeah, right. She says she's going to Broadway. I knew this woman was crazy." And then the whole scene turns into a performance stage, and her niece actually see her at Broadway. She performs a whole set. And in the end, when it's over, the niece gets back up and she goes in the closet and starts to count, because they don't know what she's talking about when they say hide and go seek. So she goes in the closet and starts to count 1, 2, 3, because she thinks she's hide and go seeking, like going to find God. And then she say, "That's right, get in there and hide and go seek," and hide and go seek, and it goes off. But we have fairies in this thing. We have a lot of dancing, a lot of performing. It is really amazing.
Lisa, let me ask you a question. How do you feel about the play?
I feel it's complete. I feel it's
Okay.
amazing.
Shh, complete. How do you feel about this play?
I feel really good about it.
All right, then stop and know it's already done.
That's what I meant by complete.
I understand.
Yeah.
You feel wonderful about the play.
Yeah, I do.
So it's going to take care of itself. The only thing that would get in the way is one thing. You.
Me.
Okay. Well, have fun with the play. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Very exciting. Hello, Charmaine.
Hello.
What's up, baby doll?
Yeah. So, okay, we was talking earlier about the personalities.
Can you move a little bit because you sound a little muffled?
Oh,
There
sorry.
we go.
So, when you was talking earlier about personalities.
Yes.
Okay, so if I'm in mine now, is there any such thing as me having a personality if I'm just being right now?
Well, if you're being right now, there's nothing to project, is there?
Yeah. Okay. It's just a persona. Is that what?
Yeah. The persona is now natural. And if you are now, then you will naturally be yourself. The projector comes to choose, to be, to do, time, relevance, importance, measurements, right?
Yeah, yeah. So like anybody that I'm around at any given moment, if I'm just being in my now, then there's no personality because I'm just being natural.
You're just being yourself. As soon as you try to change yourself or wondering if you're doing the right thing to get someone's approval, then you know you moved into the persona land, or from the
Ah,
persona into personality land, right?
yes, that makes sense.
Right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
people are doing the same thing, you know? If you watch people very closely, you can see their interactions, their reactions to life. Watch them for a while. Listen to conversations in lines at grocery stores, or let's say in a crowded area. Sit down and observe people at a mall. Listen to their phone conversations, how they enact.
Mm.
Michael looks like he has a mask on. Michael, you're not getting sleep?
It's actually eczema, the dry, itchy skin. I've had this for a long time.
Oh, what is it?
It's called eczema. It's when your skin gets dry and itchy and scaly. Yeah, I've had this my entire life. Doesn't seem to want to go away.
It
Yeah, I
doesn't
get
seem
that
to
too.
want to
Like,
go away. Do you want it to go away?
Yeah,
Can you accept it to go away?
yeah.
Can you accept that when you go to sleep that the body's not there? Or is that still stuck in your mind?
That's hard to accept because I'm dead freaking tired whenever I get up in the morning.
Right, so that's why it's hard to accept. Because you're dead frickin' tired. You're not looking at dead frickin' tired as an experience. You're looking at it as an inconvenience. And so therefore this is an inconvenience with you as well. So therefore you're looking at it as that. And that's why it stays to be a hard to be accepted that you're done with this idea of whatever label you've given it. We're not really interested in the name.
So I'm not accepting it as the experience, but just as the inconvenience. That's what's stopping, or that's what's keeping it in place.
You're labeling it. You're accepting it as a label, an inconvenience. Does that make sense? Stick
Yeah.
with me, Jermaine. We're still with you, darling. But this
okay.
just looks very exciting.
Mhm.
See, if you would give yourself a superhero name, I wouldn't go in as much as Busker Dan offered to be a villain. I would see you more as a superhero. So in the idea of your superhero, you have a mask and you can start to embrace your look. And the vibration equation doesn't sustain your look. It starts to become a quality of a relationship with this idea skin problem that you've contained. And that in and of itself will change once you understand it from a different posture for Brent's benefit or in a different approach for your benefit. Are you following that?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
You're not getting there. You're already there. See, the choice to not get there is you, the personality. Recognize that the personality says it's getting there when the persona knows it's there.
Okay.
You're not experiencing the known. You're actually trusting the unknown right now. And that's difficult for a logical mind, isn't it? Because it cannot equate things to facts, to data, to scientifics. And that's
Okay.
difficult for your mind. But that's your relationship to your personality. So when you go to sleep tonight, know that you're going to wake up with a full 12 hours of rest, although you're going to wake up 6 hours later. Can you accept that? I feel like 12 hours of sleep tonight. Perfect. But see, if you label the time, then two things are going to happen. You're going to sleep 12 hours, or you're going to feel fresh like 12 hours and sleep only 6. That's what you average sleep, right? 6?
Something like that. Yeah.
It seems around that time.
Yeah,
Would you deserve 12?
I think so.
I know so, but I can't help you knowing. Only you can, right?
Right.
So again, I offer this. Do you deserve 12 hours of sleep?
Yeah,
Yes.
I do.
Yes. And you also deserve a $9 hot dog, my friend.
Maybe.
Thank you. Charmaine, you good?
Yeah.
So you can see what Michael was doing.
Yeah.
He's had his whole life. That's a personality reaction because he looks in the mirror. It's reinforced every day. So he accepts reality as that truth, and that reinforces it. Energy follows awareness. The master tactician understands the source. The source is vibration. He understands his relationship as a containment now. And when he accepts his containment as the container, he is the personality saying it's this, being the container, the enforcer of that reality, as well as the reinforcer of that reality of having the skin problem. Then his whole posturing is a different approach to life, and then it starts to deplete.
Right.
But of course, I love how he gave himself a Rocky Raccoon look.
He looks cute.
He does look adorable.
He does. Mhm.
I would take him to a cosplay in a heartbeat.
Uh, yeah, okay, I think that's it. Yeah,
Very good.
cool.
Well, thank you for joining in with that. I'd offer more clarity.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, let's do this. Let's know that you don't need to press yourself any longer. Pressing yourself would give yourself a continued way to be. Pressing yourself has to have a motive behind it. There's no reason to instill kinetic energy without a motive. Kinetic energy is my passion to pick up the phone. Kinetic energy allows me to pick up the water. I'm still pressing movement, but my relationship is different. It's because I want to drink of water. But I don't want to become something. If I want to become something and press the issue, then I will enact a personality. And then all of my floods comes in of my mind that tells me what this is and how it's supposed to be and what it should be. And then we're at a loss. We'll do our let's say, due diligence to gain the proper knowledge to continue our quest. When if you don't press life, life turns into a magic land. The land is the same. You have fairies all about you. You have unicorns that live across the way. You have relationships to vibrational frequencies in every now that you cannot see because you're just containing yourself to a truth, a particular reality of limitation. And beyond that reality lies the unknown. And you have lit the way. So if you follow the light, you get to know you. You're only going to find who's creating the light, right? Of course. Yes, Rebecca, you had something. Unmute yourself, darling.
I just had a question about. Can you?
A little louder, please.
Yeah.
A question about what?
I was wondering if you could. What is this event people are like channeling about?
We are not aware of an event. We're not focused on the mass and collective. Can you, let's say, offer it to us?
Well, I feel like I can't because I actually do. I keep on hearing people chant like on like YouTube. It'll say like the event did everything. So I don't know. I don't know what it is. So maybe
It
someone else
doesn't seem
does.
to be anything in the world that I'm co-creating right now.
Okay.
Jamie says it's some kind of solar flash is the event. And see, that's a particular world. You must understand yourself to label yourself congruent to the current things in the now and act upon that a container. So there's going to be some of you that will experience a solar flash because you validate that as a truth happening, and the other ones will not. And then some co-created realities. Did you see the solar flash? And then this person says, no, I didn't. I didn't even know there was one. Oh, yeah, there was one. So this person says, I want to experience the solar flash. So they go and create a co-created world and maybe look up on YouTube co-created with that world that had the solar flash and make it their world in that particular now. Remember, we're unlimited creators, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So the event has not occurred in the now. It is still latent in time, and it is a choice by each individual and the awareness of it. And it doesn't make a difference in anyone's life. It is, in and of itself, as all things, one thing, experience. Assign it what you will.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Abraham, quickly, sorry, I just wanted to ask, how's Esther doing?
Esther's wonderful.
Oh, that's good.
Esther's always been wonderful.
Yeah, she's
The way I
lovely.
know Esther is an intimate relationship. So I
Yeah,
don't know Esther from what you call projection point of view.
right,
I know
yeah,
Esther from our relationship.
okay.
And Esther has always been wonderful. Now, do I understand vibrations in her nows? I understand her memories, her thoughts, her projections, of course. But those
Yeah,
are unlabeled as everything else is, for I am the quality of the now, as
yeah.
you are.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, baby. I believe Jennifer has something to add. Or Rose. Are you guys laughing?
We haven't stopped laughing. Oh, Rose is a funny, funny, funny person, you guys. You ever get
Yes.
to share a home with her, share it with her, 'cause she's freaking hilarious. I just wanted to say that we're having a really great time and not really worried about anything, realizing that just every moment is precious and special, and just, going about our nows. It's like we're evolving into just discovering more and more and more of each other and ourselves and life, and it's just really awesome when you take your foot off the brake, relax,
Yes.
realize that you are forever. That calms me down immediately when I know
Yes.
I'm forever. It really does. Whenever there's angst or anxiety and I say I forever, relax. Roxy said that to me this morning and I calmed right down. So there's still leaks in my apartment. Don't know what's going to happen, but we're not really worrying about it for now. So
Is the management aware of the leaks in your apartment? That's all they need to know. And you know as well.
I went to stay with my parents and it started leaking on Rose. The management.
Did you move the bed?
It's on the carpet next to it.
Ah.
We have pots everywhere.
Well, it's good that you're a cook, isn't it?
Exactly. Enough pots to catch the water, the dirty rainwater. So
What a beautiful synchronicity you created.
yeah, it's quite funny.
It's been said in the class that each person is explored and explorable from a standpoint of projection. See, when you met Rose, you already knew Rose. So you knew her from the future. You knew her before time. But from this point of view, you get the experience of exploring Rose. And of course, all this co-creation. So it's the harmony of the infinity you have drawn. You guys share each other intimately. What reaches the conscious mind of experience is whatever filters are in place. It matters not, truly. It's the ride that you're here for. So you're exploring Rose and you're discovering that she is quite funny because she has a way to equate things, a quick, sharp mind that puts it together because she's naturally that. And the less of, let's say, Rose being the Rose of what Rose was to be the Rose of the permission that you have provided Rose to be by just being, it doesn't matter. She let go and discovered something about herself. And then, of course, she shows you things of panic, things that you think are important, defining yourself, posturing yourself. And then she points those out and goes, it's okay. And it's not a purpose. It's two gods co-creating in a wonderful moment and experience. And
Well,
that is simply that.
she is turning into some badass LA chick because we were in the elevator last night. And I said something to her about, because we're watching Game of Thrones, and all I see is this little blonde person with her finger up like this going, dude. And I went, dude? You just call me dude? So she's just turning into this very funny thing. And what did you say to me today? Something else. I don't know. Oh, yeah. In the car, she goes, what's up? I don't know her. I don't know this person. So yeah, she's a very funny person to spend time with, I have to say. But if she starts speaking the like California lingo too much, I think I may have to send her back to Tennessee. So it's a lot of fun. Anyway.
What a wonderful world you've allowed yourself to have. But we can feel you have the tug of time. You're wondering where it's all going to go. Same with Roxanne.
Yeah.
She's wondering where everything is going to go, how the house or the new place is going to work out, the closing deal on Rose's house. Things. Just things. Yes. All these things are the mind, the personality that conceptualizes possibility through the past. But see, the persona of the now has no attachments or importance about those things. It's just be the now, and the more you become accustomed to being the divinity that you are, and you'll notice one thing: it's all okay. Nothing happens except perfect every now.
Yeah.
Takes a little getting used to. Takes a lot of bravery. Takes a lot of courage. The discipleship of allowance is masterful. But you're doing it, aren't you?
Yep.
Damn right.
Thank you, Abraham.
You're welcome. So you see, this week has been a shift. It's a personality from when we got here on Monday to today. It's a movement of reality. Try to contain me. You only contain your experience. I am not the past, nor am I the future. Neither are you. You are the now. We shall bid you all a good day.